Hello, and welcome back to the Centered Soul Podcast. I am your host, Danielle Rose, highly intuitive psychic, Reiki energy healer, and your guide for mental, emotional, and energetic healing. This is a part 2 episode, so make sure that you listen to part 1 first. This is our dictionary episode, so we've already gone through a ton of words in part 1, and at the beginning of part 1, I gave you a little rundown of every single word that we were going to be going through, so you can sort of like get a little overview of what the episode entails. This is part 2. So in part 2, we are going to be going over what is channeling. We are going to be going over spirit guides versus higher self versus spirit team versus angels. We're going to be going over protection, cleansing, karma, karmic situations, soulmates, twin flames, soul contract, energy, light body, energy body, light work, vibration, frequency, manifestation, abundance, lack mindset, victim mindset, mediumship, psychic abilities, and intuition. Those are the main words we'll be covering. We've already covered so much. So let's dive right into part 2. So let's see. Okay, what the fuck is a spirit guide? Anybody know? Okay, so if you are of the mindset that we are essentially souls who have incarnated onto earth to have experiences and learn and grow, then you're probably of the mindset that we had a plan for ourselves. Oh, you want to know what's not on this list? Soul contracts and soul family. Okay, I also added 2 other things to the list, soul contracts and soul family. So you're probably of the mindset that we had a plan for ourselves, things that we wanted to accomplish, things that we wanted to experience. The same way that like your living consciousness has like the concept in mind of a like bucket list, like things that you want to do before you die, things that you want to experience. Your soul has a bucket list, if you will, of things that it wants to accomplish, achieve, experience, learn in this life, right? And so one of those things might be like having children. One of those things might be, experiencing unconditional love. So you get a pet. A simple example could be that maybe one of your parents kind of traumatized you. And now you have to learn how to fully love yourself because you really didn't feel loved by that parent. And that's like a soul contract, is that parent was like, hey, like I also need to learn all of this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and be that person for you when we get down there on earth. And you can hate me for it, and that's okay because I have to learn how to love myself and forgive myself. And you need to learn how to love yourself. So we'll go ahead and do that together. And they're not always like the same thing. Maybe one person wants to learn like level 10 joy and the other person wants to learn level 10 forgiveness, and they can like work together on a soul contract to like make that happen, right? So all that to say, soul contracts, somehow we got there. I'm not really sure. Oh, I know why. I was trying to explain spirit guides. So all of that to say, I'm sure you're wondering, but Danielle, what if I miss a soul contract? What if I have someone that, we agreed to do something together? By the way, these soul contracts that I just described, I also just described using like soul connections, like people who your soul has a karmic connection with. That's getting into karmic because you've agreed to do something for each other's growth. So you guys have a soul contract, you have a karmic connection, and you're like, well, Danielle, what happens if I like miss that person? Like I don't ever actually talk to them. Or what if I had a soul contract with the guy that I swiped on Hinge, but I decided like not to date him, and so how are we going to fulfill that now? Right? Okay, so couple things. First of all, that's sort of what the spirit guide situation is about. Spirit guides are going to send you signs and signals and guide you towards the plan that you had for yourself. So if your plan was to learn, I'm just going to go with level 10 forgiveness, then your spirit guides will guide you down paths that push you closer and closer and closer to learning that thing you wanted to learn, okay? And maybe that guy on Hinge was one of the people that you set up an agreement with and you guys bypassed it because you decided not to go on the date or whatever. That's okay. You'll still learn it in another way. That's why you have your spirit guides here pushing you and guiding you to do things. So just because you have a karmic connection with someone or just because you have a soul contract doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen, because free will. If it absolutely 100% had to fucking happen, we wouldn't have free will. So you can bypass those things by exercising your free will. You will still, however, most of the time learn everything you wanted to learn and experience everything you wanted to experience because you have your spirit team guiding you. So essentially, imagine it this way. I have absorbed so much information over the years that I don't even know where half of it came from. So I have this other image in my head that I'm about to tell you that I know I'm taking the words out of someone else's mouth, and I don't know who this creator was and who it was that said this. But essentially they said, before you incarnate, you like write down, this is like a really like extreme version. It's like an example, but you write down like everything that you want to achieve, accomplish, learn, etc. on this in this life, on this earth, whatever. So you write it all down and then you hand it to your friends, these like trusted people that you know and love who are not going to earth with you. And you're like, okay, you guys, here it is. Make sure that I do these things. Like these are the non-negotiables because I'm going to forget everything when I get down there. So make sure that I do these things because I really, really, really want to make sure that they get done. So your friends, these people that you love and trust and hold in high regard, take your soul contract and they're like, okay, we got you. And you get down to earth and they become what you know as your spirit guides. It is literally, you could call it a source guide, a universe guide, a friend guide. It's literally just someone who you love, that loves you, that you have a connection with, that knows what you want. And they are going to help you get it. Okay. That's all it is. It's just someone who's helping you achieve what you wanted to achieve. Now, the beautiful thing about spirit guides is they're sort of like a loving parent kind of energy. They just love you unconditionally no matter what you do. Even if they're like, hey, like, you know, you should really do this. And you're like, I'm literally not going to do that. I'm going to do the opposite because I have free will. They're not going to be mad at you. They're not going to hate you. Like it literally doesn't matter because none of it has any meaning. And they know that you can't remember anything that you agreed to do. And they're not going to take it personally. The other thing about spirit guides is that they can lie to you if it's in your highest good, right? So if they want to get you to do something to fulfill one of the things that you wanted to do, that it's in your highest good, right? That's like what your soul wanted to do, is what your soul wanted to like learn and experience, then your spirit guides can essentially lie to you and say like, you will experience this if you do this, right? And then you do it and you don't get that thing and you're like, the fuck. But little did you know, you needed to do it and not get that thing so that you could learn the soul lesson of like self-fulfilling or whatever it is, right? So that's like the tricky thing is your spirit guides can, as much as they love you and they will always treat you with unconditional love and they will never be mean to you. If you're having like a negative self-talk and like beating yourself up, like, honey, that's not your spirit guides. That is yourself. That's your ego. That's your hurt self, whatever it is. Like, that's not your spirit guides. They're not going to talk to you that way. They are literally going to talk to you like unconditionally loving parents, best friends, like the way that you would talk to your best friend, the way that you would talk to your daughter, whatever it is, like no judgment. You're always going to be so fucking nice to them. That's how your spirit guides are going to be to you. So it's just that they don't always have to be 100% honest. They can sort of like mislead you a little bit if it's in your highest good. Okay. And like, okay, like who cares? Like you're going to get everything that you need. So it's literally fine. Okay. So this brings me to higher self. Your higher self is, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know exactly what the higher self is because I am just but a mere human. But the way that I perceive the higher self, and this may or may not be true, I don't know. I have not done a lot of research or deep dive on this, but I asked my higher self one time. I said, "What are you?" And she goes, "I am an information source." And I was kind of mind blown. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Okay. Come again? And she goes, I am everything that you know and everything that you have experienced across all lifetimes. So everything that I have ever experienced and everything that I have ever learned is being stored within my higher self. So that is why your higher self is like this like ultimate information source, because your higher self knows everything about you across all lifetimes, across all dimensions, like through it all, your higher self knows everything that you have ever experienced and ever wanted and ever learned. So the information source is almost endless because it's only limited to your literal existence, and your existence is probably pretty infinite. So your higher self is an information source, all the information that you have gathered ever. The thing about the higher self is I do not believe that the higher self will lie to you or like slightly like misguide you to get you to do something, because the higher self is literally another part of you. I don't believe, and I don't have anything to back this up. This is just what resonates in my body, okay? So do with this what you will. Take it with a grain of salt, just like you take everything that I say with a grain of salt. But I don't believe that your whole soul and like your whole consciousness could fit in a human body. Like that doesn't add up to me. Like I think that we are far too vast and powerful to actually fit all of us into like this like fleshy human thing. You know what I mean? Like there's no way that we all fit. Which takes me to like a fun side note of something that I heard. Again, I could be making this up. Like, don't fucking listen to me because, oh my God, like, I'm not quoting any sources here. So, like, take it with a grain of salt. If it resonates with you, it resonates with you. If it doesn't, maybe fucking Google it and, like, see. But some of you have probably heard this. Something about how scientists, like, discovered that, like, when the body dies, like when a person dies, there is an extra, like, weight there that's unaccounted for. Like, it gets a little bit lighter, and like it doesn't make sense. Like, you know how like sometimes like when like a person dies, like they'll empty their bowels, that's like being accounted for, but there's something else that leaves the body, maybe, that like that weight disappears and is not accounted for. And that is what I have like said to myself makes sense, that like that is like the soul or the consciousness leaving the body. It's an energy. That's why they can't see it, but it has weight to it, and that's what's leaving the body. So again, that's my opinion. Come up with your own opinion. All of that to say, I don't think that the whole soul, the whole consciousness can fit in the body. So I think that we are a piece of ourselves living in the human form. And so we can then connect to this other piece of us, the higher self. And again, I don't know much about this because I have not researched it, but I think that the higher self could also be another word for the rest of your soul, because I don't necessarily think the entire soul can fit in the body. It doesn't quite track to me, okay? So like all I'm saying is some of you is here, some of you is there, okay? So you can connect to the some of you that's there, which I refer to as the higher self, and you can gather information. So that's what I refer to as the higher self. Okay. Spirit guides, higher self, we have that down. Spirit team, okay? Spirit team, what the fuck is that? Okay, so that is basically everyone that is on your team guiding you, making sure you get where you need to go. So the guides in particular, I think are very likely souls, energies, entities, whatever you want to call them, that you know. They're your friends. They're people that you love. And on your spirit team, you can also have angels. You can also have ancestors. And I'm sure there's more to that I don't know a lot about, because when I started my spiritual journey, I started very deep in like the tarot and oracle and like pendulums, and am I going to work with deities, and what are chakras and energy work, and how does the spirit team work, and I want to talk to my spirit guides and angel numbers and astral projection. Like I was deep in like that side of the spiritual community or whatever. And now I have, over the last few years, really shifted my spiritual identity, I guess, into more of like, how can my spiritual connection benefit my life here on earth? How can it give me purpose or meaning? How can it help me grow and excel and succeed? How can I better my experiences or experience more love or more passion or more happiness? How can I learn? It's really turned into a lot less of talking to spirit guides and doing divination and you know, getting oracle cards and getting predictions and stuff like that. And it's turned a lot more into I want to live the best life that I possibly can. I want to live in a world where my brain is not my enemy and my connection to energy and to the spiritual side of things has an opportunity to shed a lot of light on my soul and my life's experiences and teach me how to be my own guide and teach me how to essentially be my own best friend, in the sense of your brain can be your enemy or your best friend. That is a podcast episode I plan on making. Let me know if you have any questions on that, and I will totally add that in there because that's a whole other fucking episode. So I use spirituality, the term is a loose term, but I use my connection to all of this stuff, my information, all of this stuff to understand and to transform in a way that benefits my well-being. That's what it's about for me. So it's not always spirit guides this, spirit guides that, higher self said this, and my spirit team that, and my ancestors this, but for the sake of understanding, because I wish that someone had explained all of this to me when I was first starting out. I'm going to get into these details, but we probably won't go too deep on this in the future because it's just genuinely not how I achieve change and peace and healing. It's important background knowledge though, because it really is like the foundation of all this stuff, but it's like, you don't need to spend all your time trying to talk to your spirit guides and like trying to interpret angel numbers and like pulling oracle cards for yourself. It's like, it's not that deep. You just need to understand the basics of this stuff if you want to use it to transform and better your life. So, all of that to say, the spirit team can have ancestors, lost loved ones. So, for example, I'll just use my grandpa for example. When he passed away, he very clearly was like, he came in, he checked in, whatever. Like, I could talk to him. I still can talk to him whenever I want. But he's not like on my spirit team, like guiding me and helping me. However, he follows my sister around a lot. And I think that it is because he is a part of her spirit team. He is an ancestor, a lost loved one on her team, guiding her because they have a lot in common that I think none of us even recognized. And maybe it has to do with the soul contracts or their soul journey or whatever it is, right? The other piece is I have a grandmother who I've never met. She passed away before I was born, and she is 100% on my spirit team. And I've talked to her many a time, and she is on my spirit team because I am living through things that she went through, but I'm breaking these, I want to call them like karmic cycles. People will call them generational curses or generational traumas, whatever. And it's like, okay, I'm going to give another example of that kind of stuff. Let's just say that your, great grandmother and all the women who came under her, they all ended up in relationships with like abusive men. And then all of a sudden your mom came along and she was in a relationship with an abusive man, but she like divorced him and like she stood up for herself and she broke that chain and like she went and like did the single mom thing or whatever, right? And it's like she just broke that chain for all the women before her who couldn't, maybe because they weren't strong enough, maybe because they didn't believe in themselves, maybe because they would have been ridiculed or they would have been cut off, ostracized, whatever, right? And so it takes one person in the line of people to break the chain, or so to speak. And so I know that like with this grandmother who I never met, that I'm breaking chains she wasn't able to simply by making the choices that I make, by talking to the people that I talk to, or by healing the traumas that I heal, right? That's a whole other realm as well about how we can take on traumas through lineage. So for example, if a woman is pregnant with a child and experiencing, I'm going to go to another extreme because they're easy to process. If a woman is pregnant and experiencing physical abuse throughout the pregnancy, the child may come out and in their, toddler years or even their teen years, whatever, exhibit signs that they're being abused because they like flinch at things or they experience a lot of fear, or maybe they have this irrational fear of, being hurt by the people in their life, even though no one's ever hit them or whatever, right? And that is because these things can be passed down through, like the energies. So that's what we're talking about when we say breaking ancestral chains or ancestral trauma. It's like these things can be passed down through the lineage for generations back. And you might be, one thing my mom always says is she was like, you were literally born anxious. Like you just came here scared. Like, and I have no idea why. And it's true. And fighting, or I guess, should I say healing, fear and anxiety has been a huge part of my lesson and my soul's growth here on earth. And it's, by no means mastered, but it no longer controls me either, right? And she always says, she's like, I think that you brought that in from another life. And maybe I did. Or maybe I heard something in the womb, you know what I mean? That scared me. Or maybe I didn't bring it in from another life. Maybe after my great grandma died, she came to me and she said, damn it, bitch. I didn't do it. I did everything on my soul contract, but I forgot to heal the fear. Would you please take this for me? And would you get that done while you're down there? Because I'm not going back for another 600 years. And I was like, sure, yeah, I got you. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, I'm literally making this up. I don't know how this works, but I guarantee you, you can have trauma that's literally not yours because of all of that. Now, here's the thing. Because I don't know how this works, to me, it's not relevant, okay? I know that it holds some relevancy because, again, like there are certain things that it just seems like I was born with, right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? And that's what I'm getting at. It doesn't matter if it's great grandma Eloise's trauma or if it's 9 generations back from an abusive marriage. It literally doesn't matter. What matters is that you're making the choices you're making to heal yourself and to do better in your life. And consequently, that's healing other people. Congratulations. Or maybe it's not. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't really matter. It's just nice to know sometimes that if you can't fully find the roots of something, that maybe it is because it's not from this life, and that's okay. And that kind of takes us into like not always needing to fully understand or explain something, okay? That takes us into a conversation about therapy and parts work and trauma healing, and really deep diving into that kind of healing work and how difficult that can be when you don't remember your trauma, or when you're trying really, 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 really hard to pinpoint where this false belief comes from, right? That's a whole episode in and of itself, so I won't go down that rabbit hole right now. All of this to say, your spirit team, I've gone in so many different little tangents. Again, I really hope that you guys utilize the request a podcast page on my website, because anything that I rabbit hole down and come back from that you want more information on, please let me know, and let me know all your detailed, juicy questions on it, because I would love, love, love to make more podcasts on this stuff for you guys. Just trying to stay on topic, which I'm not the best at. But hey, if you have ADHD, you might really be enjoying me. Okay, so the spirit team can be your angels, your spirit guides, your ancestors, your lost loved ones, etc., etc. Your higher self is a piece of you with all the information that you've ever gathered. And your spirit guides, I believe, I'm not saying this is truth because I can't fucking prove this and I don't fucking know. This is just what resonates with me, that your spirit guides are more like your friends, the people that you know and love and trust, okay? Angels, this is a fun one. This takes me down the biblical rabbit hole, and I will just say that I think that there's a lot of truth to a lot of religions, and that angels are probably very, very real, and that demons are probably very, very real, and that Jesus and he probably existed too. And I think that it all got misconstrued and changed and fucked up and used to control people and yada, 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 yada. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I will say that that is why you will find people talk about like the archangels, right? Like Archangel Michael is a really common one that's talked about because in the spiritual community, because he like resonates with the root chakra and protection and grounding. And you're like, Archangel Michael, like, isn't Archangel Michael in the Bible? Like, yes, because it's all drawing from the same like information source. So by that logic, all the archangels would be real, demons would be real, the devil or Satan, but it's like, it's not what you think, okay? It's just not. That's a whole other conversation. I will just leave it at, if you find yourself in fear of any of these things, something's not jiving, okay? We don't fearmonger here. We don't ever support our own brain experiencing fear because it means that you're giving your power away to something. And truthfully, I don't believe that there's anything to be afraid of. And so if we're experiencing fear with this type of stuff, then we're misinterpreting something or we're not fully seeing our power on the topic, right? Like, ooh, scary, like demons. Like, yeah, okay, but if you know how to clear your energy and your space, then like, who cares, right? You know what I mean? Like, they're not hurting you. Okay, so all of that to say, just because you become aware of something doesn't mean that it wasn't always there. So like, what difference does it make? Okay, moving right along. Again, whole other fucking conversation. Let's see. Did we talk about channeling? I don't think we did. Channeling is very similar to, okay, it's basically when you're talking to your higher self or when I'm talking to like a client's higher self. That's a really popular one, is I'll be talking to a client's higher self and I'll be like, oh, like I'm channeling this for you. Or sometimes I'll be talking to like a friend and I'm like, oh, I just started channeling because I notice that I am regurgitating information that is not mine. It is not information that I know from this life. It's not information that I know from my experiences. It is information that I can feel coming in from my higher self. And I'm just talking until I finish it. And I'm like, whoa, like that was crazy. Like, did anybody catch that? Like, I would love to know what was just said. And so when I'm taking a client, for example, I'll channel from their higher self, like what they need to know, what they need to be working on, what, this experience is teaching them, or, whatever is most beneficial for their journey. And I'll essentially be quoting like sentences like, you're doing a good job. And I'm like, I channeled that. Like, that's such a cliche example, but like, I channeled that. It's like, I'm not telling you you're doing a good job. I am receiving information from your higher self or from your spirit guides that you did a good job with this thing, or you need to put more energy into this thing, right? So for me, channeling can come in the form of like quick sentences of like, oh, like good job, or redirect yourself on this. Or sometimes I will channel whole fucking like paragraphs of shit that I'll text like my besties, or I'll channel whole fucking paragraphs of like, I'll go on a little like rant, like a little tirade for my clients of just stuff that's like coming in. And it's like, it's almost like I'm aware of it when it's happening, and I can like feel my brain switch where it's like I'm stopping connecting to like the human part of where words are created, and instead I'm letting words flow through me. It's like the best way I can explain it. It's nothing special, I want to say. It's like, it's things that we all do. We all will connect to our higher self, our spirit guides. You ever have someone who just, okay, for example, you're having a total shit fucking day and you go to the grocery store and the guy that's stocking the onions just says the most magical thing to you. And you're like, oh my God, like what an angel. Yeah, exactly. What an angel, because that guy just like channeled. He was just like, he was the channel for the information source that you needed right now, right? And so we channel all the time. Do you ever get the, urge like, oh, I really need to like go up to this person and just tell them that they're beautiful today? That's a great example of you channeling maybe their grandmother or, their higher self or their spirit team of just whatever they needed to hear today. So we all do it all the time. It's little moments of psychicness, basically. So yeah. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is protection or protecting. When I'm like, oh, this crystal is very protective. What does that mean? Well, I'm essentially saying that the crystal will protect against negative energies. It's not like a force field. It's not even a shield. It's just that like it will absorb and transmute negative energy. or it will help to change negative thinking, or it reduces stress, which then in turn reduces negative energy. Again, because energy cannot be created or destroyed, it is just energy that we're transmuting. So when you get super fucking anxious or super like in a negative spiral, you've just transmuted the energy around you or the energy within you into something, and you can transmute it out into something else. So a crystal that is protecting you from negative energy might be protecting your mind, your mindset from doing these negative spirals, right? A crystal that is protecting you from, like, okay, for example, like for bad dreams. These are protecting you from negative thought cycles. These are protecting you from, when I say negative energies, I know sometimes people think like bad guys and demons and stuff. And like, no, when I say negative energies, I am talking about energy that you would perceive to be less than positive, less than helpful. So for example, I would call victim mindset a negative energy. I would call like negative thought spirals, depression, stress, being hard on yourself, being overly critical. I would call these things negative energies. They are energies of negativity, right? Energies of lack is a good negative energy. So if you have a lot of energies of like fear and negativity floating around you, you might have nightmares. And so having crystals that protect against those negative thought cycles and those energies being stored in your chakras. Sometimes like to protect, you need cleansing crystals because you need to cleanse out the negative energy in your chakras. So it's all sort of like complicated. It's also all sort of the same. You see what I mean? So that's sort of like the crystal side of protecting. And then when it comes to like energetically protecting, like I will shield my clients. I will shield myself. I will tell people like, make sure your shields are up because you don't want to like absorb all that energy at a concert. You know what I mean? So you can protect yourself in that sense by intending to shield myself from negative energy, or this person really drains me a lot, so I'm going to intend to put up an energetic shield in front of myself while I'm with them so that they don't drain my energy, right? So there's lots of different ways to protect yourself in that sense. So when I talk about protection, it is situational. If I'm like, this crystal protects, I'm more so referring to the way that it might protect or assist with negative thought cycles and spirals. And then and like if there's let's say that you're living with someone who is in a lot of negative thought cycles and spirals, and you don't want to absorb that, then crystals are like another something else that crystals can like sort of help protect you from, right? So and then other types of protection, like using cleansing incense and stuff to like cleanse your space to protect yourself from negative energy, which is just energy that brings you down, energy that fucks up your vibe, okay? It's not demons and like, it's not that deep. And then, protecting yourself from other people's energy by shielding and stuff like that. Okay, cleansing. Talking about cleansing really quick. This is when I talk about removing negative energy from the body. Energies that are not serving you, energies that are holding you back, energies that are making you muddied and feel heavy and weighed down and gross and like you can't think clear. I will, cleanse your energy body of that. And then like when I say clear quartz is cleansing, I just mean that maybe it's clearing things from your energy body that aren't serving you. When I talk about, black obsidian being protective, maybe it's absorbing things from your energy body that are not serving you. And so that's kind of also cleansing you. You see what I mean? And then you can also cleanse your energy like in the shower, like just with the intention, again, because everything here is intention. By having the intention to cleanse your energy with water while you cleanse your hair, you're done. You've cleansed yourself. So dun, 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 dun. Okay, we've talked a little bit about like karmic and karma, but to specify, I want to say some people think that like karma is like a negative thing. Okay, no, you can have bad karma, you can have good karma, you can just have like soul karma. Like it's just like I want to say it is the inevitable. Karma is the inevitable, where if you step out in front of a car and you get hit by that car, well, that was your karma for stepping out in front of the car. Like, of course you got hit by the car. You know what I mean? If you work really, really, really hard to build your brand and promote it and work on your business, and your launch goes really, really well and you make a bunch of money, that was your karma. Like, of course, like you did the inevitable. Like, duh. So karma can essentially, it's just the inevitable. It's what's coming to you, basically, good or bad. And I think that it'll come from past lives as well. So you'll get your karma of, maybe you worked really, really, really hard in a past life. And so in this life, work is just kind of easy for you because you already did that. You know what I mean? You don't need to go through that again. Maybe you were really, really manipulative in a past life. And so in this life, you really, really struggle with other people making you feel like you're being manipulated. Even if they're not manipulating you, you feel like you're being manipulated. And so then you need to work through and heal those feelings internally within yourself, because your karma from manipulating other people is sort of feeling that again internally and working through it. It's like an example, okay? And I will say a lot of this I'm talking out of my ass. Like, this is what makes sense to me. There's no book where this is written. I didn't Google this. Like, this is just what makes sense to me in my world. And so this is how I use these words and what they mean to me. And then we talked a little bit about like karmic experiences and karmic people already. So like I have an example of like someone who was in my life that was a really negative experience. And that felt like a karmic lesson for me because I learned a lot from that time period and from those interactions. And I learned better how to take care of myself and how to trust myself more. You could call that a karmic experience or a karmic connection. You could also call that a soul contract. So I think that these kind of go hand in hand sometimes, which takes me to soulmates, which also sort of goes hand in hand. So soulmates. I think that soulmates are real, but not in the way you might think. I do not think that we have romantic soulmates like, oh, we have that one person who's like fated for us and it's just magic and like that's our person that we're supposed to love forever. And like, no, that's crazy. I don't believe in that. I believe that we have multiple soulmates in multiple capacities, right? So my family, for example, total soulmates for me. Even the people that I don't necessarily get along with, we're soulmates because we are soul family. We incarnated here together. We're karmic. We're helping each other learn things and go through these lessons and stuff. And so those are my soulmates, right? And then I have my romantic soulmates. Those of you who have been here for a long, long time know that in the middle of 2024, I ended a 6.5 year relationship, and he was 100% a soulmate. He always will be a soulmate. You know what I mean? Because he is someone who our souls were mated to be together in this life for the period of time that we were, to experience the things that we experienced together and share the things that we share and learn the things that we learned. And we both got each other to where we are now, right? And we were soulmated for that. Maybe we weren't soulmated forever. Our souls choose to meet up with people to learn and experience things. And the people who are your deep, deep, deep connections are your soulmates. So your best fucking friend, your mom, your wife, your husband, your sister, whoever, right? That ex that you spent a lot of time with, whatever, okay? Any of these people can be soulmates. So we have our platonic soulmates, we have our family soulmates, and we have our romantic soulmates. And we have multiple of all of them. It's not just one special thing, which sort of takes me into twin flames. Twin flames is something I don't talk about. Twin flames is something I just don't cover. I don't believe in them in the sense that people refer to them as, okay? So in the spiritual community, you will hear a lot of toxic twin flame shit. For example, people will say, oh, your twin flame is coming to you. And like people will interpret that as like love of my life soulmate kind of shit. Other people will say like, you just ended a karmic relationship with your twin flame and like you're free now. And they'll refer to twin flame as like your most like troublesome or abusive or toxic relationship. And they're like, yeah, like you guys were just meant to teach each other lessons because you're twin souls. So of course you trigger each other. And other people will say that twin flames are one soul split up into two bodies, and that you literally couldn't possibly cross paths on this earth if you tried because you're one soul doing separate things. Like you've set it up so that you won't run into each other because you want to have completely different life experiences so that you can live two lives at once, basically. Other people will say that twin flames is one soul split into two bodies, and that they're usually like opposite polarity, so that you would end up in a romantic relationship, and that's that one person that you like can never be with, or will struggle to be with because like life keeps like getting in the way, but you like share a soul. I don't even know. I don't even fucking know. Those are all the different things that you're going to hear around twin flames. You might even hear more stuff. I literally don't know. All I will say is that I don't believe that the term twin flame is anything that you need to be involved in. I don't think that it helps you. I think that there is such a thing, and I don't think that the spiritual community knows how to describe and teach about it properly. There are certain people out there who are doing so, and it's helpful and healthy. A lot of people instead will just use the twin flame situation as bait to get you to watch a video or whatever, or excuse a past relationship and excuse the work that you need to do or the healing that you need to do, etc., etc., etc. So, twin flames aside, if you're using that term or resonating with that term at like a soulmate level, think of it like soulmates, okay? You can give these words your own meaning. Just be aware of what's going on in the spiritual community and what people might try to sell to you using those words, okay? So, moving on from that, don't go seeking your twin flame. Just don't. Literally, it will not help you. It will not help you. If they even exist, trust me, it's not what you think it is. That is my little twin flame rant, okay? So, energy. We've talked a lot about this, but just to kind of touch on it again, energy is the thing that is all around us that cannot be created or destroyed. It is within us and outside of us, and it holds its own frequency, its own vibration, and there are so many different types of energy, and everything is made of energy. I mean, science proves that everything is made of energy. No, I don't know the exact science, so I'm not going to quote it, but feel free to Google it and entertain and educate yourself. Highly encourage it. But science proves everything's made of energy. We are made of energy. Everything is literally energy, which sort of takes me to like vibration and frequency. Let's take frequency, for example. You will hear different types of like YouTube videos, meditations, music on Spotify and stuff that's like this type of like frequency, right? It's like 111 hertz frequency or like whatever. So different frequencies do different things to energy. Again, this has been proved through science. Go look up a video of scientists like changing energy frequency or changing energy through frequency. Okay. So, like for example, I put on like sound bowl frequencies on my TV, and my cat like froze and like stared at the TV, and she was like kind of like, she was like kind of freaking out by it. She was like, and you could tell that the frequency was kind of like messing with her. We know dogs can hear certain frequencies that like people can't hear, right? So, there's all sorts of frequency stuff going on that affects energy. And energy, as we know, is constantly moving and vibrating, and that's that vibration. So for me, I experience vibration in a way that not a lot of people do. I experience energy in a way that not a lot of people do, where I can feel every single cell in my body vibrating at all times. I learned how to tune it down / out so that I don't really feel it unless I tune into it. But if I take a second, I can literally like start fucking vibrating. And I know a lot of people can do that. And I can feel the vibrational frequency of most things if I care to, okay? It's not like a big curse where I'm constantly vibrating and feeling it all the time, but like that is a reason that I stopped using marijuana, is because it literally would just uncontrollably like feel vibration, and it would send me into panic attacks and spirals. I was like, I can't make it stop. Holy shit, like, I just want to be sober. Like, so all of that to say, I can experience vibration through everything, which is why I can feel energy physically. And I want to say that it's not, if you're like, oh, I can't do that. You can. It's not that you can't. It's just that you're not tuned into it, right? That would be like saying that, I can't read Mandarin. Yes, you can. You just haven't learned how. Someone who picks up the guitar and tries to teach themselves might not be able to learn as quickly or as easily as this magical guy who seems to have just been born with the ability to play the guitar, right? That is because this person has a gift, okay? And we can learn how to do any of these things, but it might come easier to some of us because our soul remembers it from a past life or whatever, right? I don't go too far in past lives, so I'm like, it's really none of my business, but it can explain some things, right? It's like, okay, like maybe my soul brought that from a past life, whatever. I don't care too much, but feel free to dive deeper on that because I know it can be fun and validating, and just really fun to explore for a lot of people. So all of that to say, the guy who has been playing guitar naturally his whole life just has a really good gift at it and just comes easy to him. That's why he's in a band, okay? Let's take intuition, for example, mediumship, being psychic, whatever, energy work, all of this stuff, feeling energy. I might be the one who started doing it as a kid without knowing it because it just seemed like a natural gift to me. But that doesn't mean that you can't pick up a guitar and start learning, okay? Because you can. Anyone can learn how to do this stuff. It might come easier to me or it might come quicker to me. But the best part of it is certain aspects of it are going to come easy and quick to you. And those might be the aspects that I spent a long time training and really working on. So, all that to say, we all have like our natural gifts and then we can learn the rest, okay? So if you don't feel like it's a natural gift, it doesn't mean you're not gifted or can't do it. It just means that you might need to learn more and practice more. Okay, that somehow ended up as a side tangent from vibration because I was explaining how I feel vibration. But vibration, frequency, it's all a part of energy, and like energy will vibrate at like a certain frequency. That's like the best way I can explain it. Okay, moving right along to manifestation. Okay, manifestation in my world, in my realm, in my head is based off of the universal laws. Okay. I don't know all of them, but I will list a couple for you. Okay. So we have the law of attraction. We have the law of opposing forces. We have the law of polarity. Okay. These are different laws that all are a part of manifesting. So, if the law of attraction says that you attract what you are a vibrational match for, how do you become a vibrational match for money? Well, you would have to deconstruct your false beliefs around money and retrain your subconscious mind to believe new beliefs around money. And you don't even have to think about it. Those are your subconscious beliefs. You start vibrating at that frequency and then you're able to attract those things, which is why if you believe that everybody lies to you, you are vibrating at the frequency of people are dishonest and people don't have my highest interest at heart or people are not to be trusted. And that's fair. I understand that your life has taught you that, but you can shift out of it, I promise. Because you haven't shifted out of it, you're attracting those instances because you're a vibrational match to attract people who are lying, people who are dishonest, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So if you find yourself in patterns of negativity, it's because you're in a vibrational frequency for that to continue happening. So you're literally manifesting bad things. And it's neutral. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It literally doesn't matter. It's balanced. It is neutral. There's no meaning to that. It's not your fault. You're not stupid. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I have been manifesting shit into my life for years. I've just recently learned how to train my brain how to not do that. And I'm still trying to program in the things that I want to attract. So by no means am I exactly where I want to be. And I haven't, fully reprogrammed my brain and I'm not attracting everything I want to attract. Like, it takes years and years and years of work. And if you make it your life's mission, you will just be disappointed because you're going to learn and grow and experience what you experience as much as you can, but you're not going to perfect any of it. I saw something on Instagram yesterday that was like, stop aiming for perfection. If you achieve perfection, you would literally be bored. I'm like, oh, slay. That's so true. That's so true. You would be bored. So don't put too much meaning on it. If you're attracting things you don't like, that's awesome. Now you get to start shifting that. That's the end of the story. It doesn't matter. Okay. So law of opposing forces is like if you really, 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 really want something and you're like desperate in this energy, like I desperately, desperately, desperately want this, you can't have it because the energies start pushing up against each other. And that thing, you're not a vibrational match for it because you need it and you want it. It literally can't come to you. Okay. And then law of polarity, we talked a lot about in our first episode, which is basically that just because something is true doesn't mean that like it's true all the time. Because because the law of polarity states that nothing is true 100% of the time because there has to be an opposing force to it. Okay. So, all that to say, manifestation is based off of these laws of the universe. And I know people in the spiritual community like, oh, I manifested this. And it's like, did you? Or did you actually just say that you wanted it and the universe is like, cool, you're already a match for that. That's great. You can have it. Manifestation, in my opinion, and I am not a manifestation coach or a manifestation expert, but in my opinion, manifestation just has a lot to do with being in the frequency of what you want, and then you start to attract it. It's just that simple. Okay, abundance versus lack mindset. Abundance is something that comes in many, 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 many forms. So you could have an abundance of joy. You could have an abundance of positive experiences. You could have an abundance of vacation time stacked up at work. You could have an abundance of friends. You could have an abundance of family, an abundance of pets, an abundance of crystals, an abundance of money, right? So an abundance is just a bunch of something basically. So when I am saying, and I put positive meaning on it. So if I'm saying like, oh, there's abundance coming to you, it's like maybe it is an abundance of joy, or maybe it's an abundance of money. I don't know. It's whatever you're a match for and whatever is going to be beneficial for you at this time in your life. Okay. And maybe that's money, or maybe it's not. So when I talk about abundance, I'm really just referring to an abundance of something positive coming your way. Maybe it's joy, maybe it's money, maybe it's protection, maybe it's security, maybe it is a mindset or friends or happiness, whatever. So to be in an abundance mindset is to believe and know that you are abundant. I have an abundance of hair on my head. I've been like losing hair, so that's what I've been saying to myself. I'm like, I have an abundance of hair on my head. An abundance mindset is being in the mindset of having an abundance of things, whatever it is. And sometimes it takes, like really tapping in and being like, it's such an abundant feeling that I have food in my fridge. It is such an abundant feeling that my tap water is clean. It is so abundant that I get to curl up in my warm, warm, fuzzy bed tonight, whatever it is. And just paying attention to the abundance is going to draw more abundance into you. I have said abundance so many times it doesn't feel like a word anymore. So I'm going to move on to the lack mindset. It's literally just the opposite. It is being in a lack mindset. It is, oh my God, my hair is falling out. Oh my gosh, I have to get groceries. There's not enough food in my fridge. My tap water is kind of like filled with like chlorine, or I don't fucking know. Like it's just, oh, my bed is cold. Like you're in lack. Oh, I would go, but I'm like X miles away from needing an oil change and I don't have the money for that. So I'm trying not to drive too much. Like, oh, I would go, but gas is so expensive right now. Like, lack mindset. You're constantly focusing on what you don't have or what you don't have enough of, which is then attracting more of the lack to you. Okay. So switching that into an abundance mindset is where it's at. Okay. Victim mindset is another thing here. So victim mindset has a lot to do with essentially bad things always happen to me. For example, if you have had a hard life, if you've had bad things happen to you over and over and over again, you have a lot of trauma, whatever it is, it's very, very easy to get stuck in a victim mindset because you'll start to think to yourself like, oh, well, bad things always happen to me, or people always lie to me, or people always use me, or people always break my heart, or people always cheat on me, or I'm always lonely. So even when my friends are here, I don't feel fulfilled. And like I'm with company, I still feel lonely inside. Or no one has ever loved me the way that I deserve to be loved. So no one ever will. Like it's this victim mindset, and they're very, very subconscious programs that run in our head that we don't even notice are happening a lot of the time. For example, one that I started having to deal with after my breakup was the program of I'm not okay. And it was like a victim mindset. I have for years and years of my life had a victim mindset because I've been through so much and experienced so many deep, dark, painful things that it became a part of my identity is like, I'm not okay, or I'm anxious, or I'm depressed. Like that had been a part of my identity for so long that trying to step out of that and be okay, like felt wrong to my nervous system. My nervous system was like, bitch, hello? Like we're not okay. We've never been okay. We can't just be okay now. Like, and so I had to really fight to reprogram that. And it's been a lot of work. Now, what I'm saying is these programs, like the lack mindset, the victim victim mindset. They run in the background. We don't even know that they're happening. One thing I would love to do at some point is teach you guys how to recognize them, find them, fight them, and reprogram them, because that would be so beneficial and just absolutely fucking life-changing. And victim mindset, lack mindset, it's so much of why so many people live in suffering, but like you literally don't have to live in suffering. And so that is a lot of what I'm going to be teaching you, is not living in suffering, not living in victim, not living in lack, because it's just these subconscious programs that wreck your day-to-day life that you don't even know are going on. And it's what causes the negative feelings. It's what causes the negative thinking, and we can stop that. So hopefully that makes sense. Victim mindset will also oftentimes fight happiness. So if you're used to being a victim, if you're used to being hurt, used, lied to, whatever it is, when something comes along that is good for you, when someone comes along that loves you and wants to make you happy, you will oftentimes fight that. You will maybe shut it down because you're scared, because victim mindset is like, no, we need to be not okay because that's where we live and that's where we're comfortable, right? So it's things that happen that we don't even notice are happening. And the ego can come in too and try to protect and fight things. So that's a whole other rabbit hole. Again, utilize the request a podcast section on my website. If you want to go deeper on this stuff, let me know your questions and I will gladly go deeper. The last topic for today is mediums versus psychics versus intuitives. Okay. So intuition is these are my words. Other people might describe these things differently, but intuition is the ability to connect to the information that exists on the other side, okay? So connecting to your higher self, connecting to your spirit guides, to use your intuition and know, would eating cottage cheese be healthy for me today? Would taking the freeway versus the back roads be safer for me today? Would I get there on time if I leave at this time, or is there going to be unexpected traffic? You can use your intuition to answer these questions. Can this person be trusted? Connecting to your intuition is a great way to sort of feel these frequencies, these energies, these vibrations, and connect to your infinite amount of experience that your higher self is holding that tells you exactly how to read these things and whether or not they're safe or accurate, okay? So being psychic is very, very similar, but I would say that being psychic has more to do with like seeing the future a little bit. I don't get like predictions in that sense. And so I'm hesitant to say that I believe in them, but I don't want to discount people who can do that. I just haven't had interactions with people who can, so I'm not like big into like the predictions concept of things. I'm sure it exists. I mean, law of polarity, it probably has to exist. I just haven't really encountered it. For me, being psychic has a lot more to do with being able to connect to your spirit team and tell you what is good for you right now, what is going to get you to your goals, to gather information for you that will help you with X, Y, Z. Being psychic is when I open up your energy and start tapping in through Reiki, you become a book to me and I'm able to read you and I can tell you what's going on in your body, what you're holding on to, emotions that you're clinging to, instances that are troubling you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of this ability to read energy and to connect to spirit source, spirit guides, etc. Okay. Mediumship, on the other hand, is the ability to speak to dead people, like point blank, period. Someone who was alive on this earth and is no longer on this earth, their soul crossed over or whatever you want to call it, and a medium or a psychic medium, but the word medium has to be there if they talk to dead people, okay? A medium can connect to your grandfather and tell you, what he looked like, or the hat he wore every day, or that belt buckle that he had, or the necklace that you have that represents him. The thing about mediums is like, they need to be evidential. If they're not evidential, they're not mediums, okay? Evidential meaning they need to provide evidence that they couldn't have. Let's say that you book an appointment with a medium and your name is Lucy Penn, and you book with the medium and you go, Lucy Penn, and I'm this age or whatever, and they ask for a bunch of information. I want to talk to my grandpa who passed away of cancer on this date. And then you go to the medium and she describes your grandpa perfectly because she found you on Facebook because you gave her your full name. And you have a public profile that shows what he looks like or whatever. And then she's like, seems like he died of cancer. And, it was a long, drawn out, painful situation. But you already told her that he died of cancer. So she could very well just be guessing that it was drawn out and painful and that he did chemo or whatever. So that is not evidential. Evidential is, I always tell people, like, if you don't want to give me like your last name, then like don't. I've never in my life tried to look up a client, but you don't know that and you have no reason to trust me, okay? So you don't need to give me your last name if you're booking with me. And I don't even do mediumship anymore because I genuinely just don't care about it. It is healing and I have seen it be very, very healing. People who were thought to have taken their own life that came through from the other side and were able to evidentially prove through me that they did not mean to do that. And that is not what happened. And it's like the healing and the comfort that brings the family to hear the other side of the story finally is like really, really impactful. So I believe in the beneficial part of mediumship. It's just not for me. That's not why I'm here. It's a cool party trick, but it's not as fun as it was. And as much as I loved guiding people through the healing and getting them their closure, more often than not, it was more of like a party trick situation. And that's just like not what I'm here for. So all of that to say, evidence. Sorry, you need a medium who's providing evidence. The evidence needs to be things that they can't Google. And if you say how they died and then they insinuate how that went, like that's not evidence. But if they can pull up, specific things that they have no way of knowing, that's evidence. Okay. So all that to say, be careful when it comes to mediums and psychics and all of that, because a lot of people are not educated on this and what those words really mean. And it's very easy to get taken advantage of. I will probably do a whole other episode on like mediums and psychics and like what to be careful of and what to look for and how to know if you're being scammed versus how to know who's safe. So all of that to say, those are the details on that. Feel free, again, utilize that request a podcast section on the website because I would be happy to do all of this for you. The website is thecenteredsoulco.com. Simple, thecenteredsoulco.com. If you have specific questions as well, you can also email me at daniellerose@thecenteredsoulco.com. But yeah, that concludes our part 2 of the dictionary episode. I hope that I answered, oh my God, no, it doesn't. Light body and energy body. Did I explain that? They're basically the same thing to me. The light body is, the energy body and the energy body is the light body. Okay, good class. Good night. Talk to you later. It is essentially, the way I like to explain it, because it's easy to digest, is if your physical body were to have a glow, like an aura, an energy all around it, that would be your energy body. I literally imagine a human body, but instead of skin and organs and hair and eyes and teeth and bones, instead, it's like the shape of a human body, but it's just this like see-through energy. And that is like your energy body, essentially, or your light body. Energy and light are the same thing. That's a whole other conversation. So energy body, light body is the same fucking thing. For me, in my terminology, it's the same thing. So your energy body is literally just the energy inside of you, the energy that is you. So when you're cleansing your energy, you're cleansing your energy body. For some people, it helps to think of it as separate. For other people, it's better to keep it physical and like, oh, I'm cleansing my body. It's all the same. Just have the intention in mind that your energy is being cleansed as well. So yeah, it's literally just you. It's literally just you, but on the energetic plane. So yeah, those are all of the words we had today, I believe. So yeah, That concludes, finally. That actually concludes the second dictionary episode. So feel free to let me know of anything else, and make sure that you like and follow and rate the podcast and subscribe, whatever platform you are on. And make sure you share with friends. And again, rate the podcast. That super duper 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 helps me. Let me know of any questions. Feel free to reach out. Thank you so, so much for listening. I am so excited to be here, and I cannot wait to film the next episode. But until then, I hope that this episode brought you one step closer to achieving a centered soul.